Hello, crafting friends. I'm Doreen DeSabas from It Begins with Ink and Paper, and welcome to Simply Stamping Sunday. It's hard to believe another weekend has come and gone, but here we are, and I'm ready to show you a brand new stamp set for the month of October, so I'm excited about that. So it looks like everything is showing up in my screen, so I just want to share with you something that I started yesterday during the Stamping Up World card making event. And this is a kit that Stamping Up sells, and the kits are going on sale starting tomorrow, so that's why I want to bring it up. They're up to 30% off, so if you have any kits that you'd like to get, tomorrow, Tuesday and Wednesday are the days to shop. So this is a kit that retails for $32. It comes with this great case that you can store them in. It has a spot that you can put your pens, your stamps. You have a spot for envelopes. You have a couple spots for your cards. So I was able to make 3 of the cards during the event yesterday. That was all that we stamped together, but we were also busy watching some other demonstrations. So the cards that I made were these 3: a hello sunshine, a thanks, and a birthday card. And so everything you need to make these cards and 2 other designs for a total of 10 cards come in the kit, and it comes with this great case that you can build and have on your desk so that you have some cards made and you're ready to go when the time comes. So it was a fun event yesterday, but don't forget those kits start going on sale tomorrow, and it's a good time to pick one up. Alright, so this beautiful pumpkin stamp set is a photopolymer stamp set. It has 10 stamps. It's 2-step stamping, and you have 2 different sizes of pumpkins, 2 different stems, and some different leaves, and 2 greetings. So grateful to have a friend like you, and thankful for the small things. So we're going to use every stamp in this tonight as we're making our 3 cards, and we're just going to focus on the simple stamping aspect of Simply Stamping Sunday. So I'm going to start by doing all of my stamping. I have been playing around with the colors. I think I said a couple weeks ago of making my pumpkins, and my favorite combination is peach pie and pumpkin pie. So that's what we're going to be using today. So I want to do all my stamping up front so we can just be working on making the cards. So these are the pieces that I'm going to have to be, these are the pieces that I'm going to be, excuse me, fussy cutting. So I need 3 of these larger pumpkins, and I'm also going to need 2 of the small pumpkins. Oops, that one didn't stamp very well, so let's, let's hope that it's all going to get covered up nicely. I don't know why it's, there we go. Got one, and the other ones will cover up nicely with the second step. So let's grab the large one first. So now I'm using pumpkin pie, and I'm going to carefully, hopefully I'm not getting my head in the screen, carefully stamp this on top. It's okay if it's not perfect because I'll be hand cutting these out. So if I don't stamp perfectly, I can fix that while I am cutting the stamps out. There we go with the large ones. Now for, excuse me, the small one. I'm going to stamp all of these because as you can see as I'm stamping over it, I've fixed a couple. Okay, so next we're going to stamp those stems, and I'm going to stamp those in Early Espresso. Hi Lisa, hi Roz. And I'm just going to stamp the stem right on the pumpkin. It'll make it easier to fussy cut instead of having to put the stems together as I had to do with my other ones. Wasn't quite thinking. There we go. And then I also need my leaves. And we're going to stamp those in Old Olive. Now these are all going to be used on just 2 cards. We're going to also be stamping on a panel for 1 card. So that's what I need for 2 of the cards. So I'm going to set that aside because, as you probably already guessed, I have everything already cut out. So let me get my panel. This is going to be for our first card tonight, and it measures, I believe, 3 by 4. Yes, it does. So I'm going to start by stamping one of the larger pumpkins. There we go. And that's, again, in the peach pie. And now we'll take the pumpkin pie and stamp the more detailed image. There we go. We'll stamp the stem next. I'm going to stamp the greeting while I've got the Early Espresso ink out. And this says, thankful for the small things. Has such a great font on it. And then I'm going to take the Old Olive and stamp the leaves. Just like that. Hi Bonnie, thanks for joining tonight. Okay, let's get all of this out of the way for now. And let's take a look at that first card because we've got everything we need stamped for it. I'm going to use the same colored palette tonight on all my cards. So just be ready to expect a lot of Early Espresso tonight. So here is what the card is going to look like. So I'm using that beautiful plaid paper from the Gathering Moments Designer Series paper. And let's put this one together because it's a pretty easy card to put together. So what do we need? We need a piece of 8.5 by 5.5 piece of Early Espresso cardstock. Just going to burnish that edge. We need a piece of Early Espresso that measures 3 1/4 by 4 1/4, so a 1/4 inch bigger than this piece. And I'm going to put some dimensionals on the back. So we'll set that aside while we finish the rest of the card. On the front, I have a piece of 4 by 5 1/4 piece of the Gathering Moments Designer Series paper. So we're going to add that to the front. I really like this plaid paper. It just gives such great fall vibes. And then on the inside, I have a piece of 4 by 5 1/4 piece of basic white, and I have a 1/2 inch, I think, yes, a 1/2 inch strip of the plaid that measures 1/2 inch by 4 inches. And I'm just going to put this right along the side. Just to tie the inside with the outside. So there we go with that. And now all we have to do is take off our dimensionals and add this to the front, and card number 1 is done. Just going to center that on the front, and here we go with our first card for the night. I love it. Quick and easy. Our second card, I'm going to be moving now to the Autumn Toile Designer Series paper. It has some really beautiful designs as well. And let me, before I show you the card, I just want to clean one of my stamps that we're going to need for this one. Always keep baby wipes at my desk, and that way if I need them, I can get them quickly. Okay, so for this one we are going to need a 1/2 inch strip of basic white paper. I'm going to be cutting that down. I have cut out 2 of the pumpkins, 2 of the stems, 2 of the leaves, and 1 of the smaller pumpkins for this card. I have a piece of early Espresso cardstock that measures 4 1/4 by 11 inches. I have a piece of gray granite cardstock that measures 4 1/8 by 3 1/8. And then I have a 2 by 4 and a 1 by 4 piece of the Autumn Toile paper. This one is just a bunch of squares, and this one is the stripes. And you turn it over and you have some trees and deer and a little fox on the other side. And then I have a piece of 3/8 of an inch by 4 piece of the early Espresso, and then finally I have a piece that measures basic white 4 by 5 1/4. So this is the card we're going to be making with these supplies. So I'm going to be stamping the background of the paper, layering on those pumpkins, and doing a little stamping on the inside of the card as well. So let's set that aside and get started. So I'm going to start with my early Espresso ink, and I'm sure I have a scrap of paper somewhere over here that I can just grab because I'm going to make a little bit of a mess. This paper I used last week. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is just grab my early Espresso ink, and I'm going to start stamping up the background of this card. So I want to make sure I'm holding it the right way. And I'm just going to be going around in some different directions getting the background stamped. I don't have to go all the way in. I'll check with my gray granite to see how far I need to go. I don't think this is enough, so I'm going to just add some before I check. This might be. Yes, so I've got the whole background covered for this piece. I don't have to worry about doing in the middle. And then I'm going to just go into this corner and stamp the leaves there for the inside of the card. Oops, I might as well keep this out because I also have to stamp my greeting. So I'll put that aside, and I'm going to use the same greeting I used on the last card. And I'm going to stamp this all the way over to the left, and then I'm going to trim the edge. So I'm just going to center it. Close this up. And we'll get all of our pieces over here so we can get started. And I'm just going to just snip this at an angle. Okay, there we go. Now we're ready to just start putting this all together. So I'm going to start with my inside piece. Just move all this out of the way. And we'll add this to the inside. And now we'll add these pieces to the piece of the gray granite. So I'm going to start with my early espresso piece, and I'm going to put that at the top. It's only 1/8 of an inch difference. And then I just love this stripe. It has some gray in it, some of the brown in it. It's just really pretty. And the back side with the Cajun craze is really beautiful too. So I'm just going to match this right up to each other. And then I'm going to separate that with just a little line of cardstock. There we go. And that's what our front panel looks like. So now I have to put these pumpkins together. I didn't think about, I stamped my big pumpkins last time when I was getting ready for this, and didn't think about adding the stems until I did the little ones, and I didn't have room then to do the big ones. And I was thinking, wow, that was such a time saver with the little ones, and then not having to cut out a little tiny piece. So there's one pumpkin. Let's just make that a little straighter. I love stamping in the fall. It's just one of my favorite things. I love all the seasons, but boy, I just love all the fall colors and all that good stuff. So I'm going to start by putting one of the pumpkins down using adhesive. This pumpkin, I'm going to go a little, it went higher. I didn't go low enough on this. Let me go put this just a little lower. There we go. So that's going to be a little lower. This one's going to be a little higher, and I'm going to use dimensionals on the back. And I know my dimensionals are here because I just had them. How many of you lose things right on your desk? I do all the time. Okay, so I'm going to raise this one up a little bit. There we go. And this one, I'm going to actually be putting like right here and have it come down a little bit. So I'm going to put one dimensional on the bottom and then add some adhesive. Just like that. And then this, let's see, I'm going to need to put one dimensional on the end and some adhesive right here in the middle. Because this is going to go right across like this. And there's the front of our card. And because there's so much dimensional on the label, I'm just going to add adhesive to this and add it to the front of the card instead of putting it up. And is that straight? Doesn't look it. Okay, and there is card number 2 for tonight. Okay, let's put that aside and go on to our last card of the evening. So for this one, oops, I forgot to put the leaves on that one. My goodness, knew something was missing. Let's just add these leaves before we move on to the next one. I'm going to put a dimensional behind each of them. I knew something was missing and I just couldn't think what it was. So there's one leaf. This is going to make it look so much better. Now, there's our finished second card. Alright, so next, I don't think I need this piece of paper anymore. So let's go to our next card. I have a small piece, I think it's 1 by 2.5. Yeah, 1 by 2.5 for my greeting. I have one large pumpkin with a stem and a leaf, and one small pumpkin. And this is what our card is going to look like. So grateful to have you as a friend. So I'm using that same paper from before, and I'm using a third design. So I'll show you that in just a minute. So let me just put that aside, and let's go over what we need. So besides those pumpkins and the greeting, we need a piece of early espresso that measures, of course, 5.5 by 8.5. I have a piece of basic white that measures 4 by 5.25, and we're going to stamp a little pumpkin on it. So we'll start with our peach pie. And then we'll go to our pumpkin pie. And then we'll go to our early espresso, and we'll be stamping our greeting in early espresso as well. And the greeting we're going to use is the last stamp that we haven't used yet. So grateful to have a friend like you. And I'm just going to stamp that right in the middle. Okay. All of our stamping is officially done. Okay, so this piece is going to go on the inside of our card. On the front of our card, we are going to put this piece. This has the really pretty pumpkin patch on the back. We'll be using the side of the paper next week. And it has some beautiful, just a really pretty design, subtle design on the back. So this is going to go at the top of our paper. So this measures 5 1/4 by 1 7/8. And this one also measures 1 7/8 by 5 1/4. And then this piece, I believe, measures by a 1/2 inch. Yeah, it's a 1/2 inch. And it's a piece of this paper with the brown stripe going in the other direction. And I'm just going to cover that spot. And let me just trim this. There we go. So this is what the front of our card looks like. And now let's put these pumpkins together. I am going to just be so I'm just going to be using the Stampin' Seal to put the big pumpkin down. And it's going to go about right here. I'm going to use dimensionals to put up the smaller pumpkin. And I'm also going to be putting a dimensional up for the leaf. Put it up just a little too high, so let's lower that. I don't want to be able to see the dimensional. And then we are going to be putting this right down here, and we're going to use dimensionals on this as well. And I think we're off to a good start for the month of October with these 3 cards. And that is card number 3. Just move some of this out of the way, and let's look at the 3 cards we made tonight. So our first card was just plain old stamping on a piece and putting it on the front. We added the designer series paper to the inside. So that's card number 1. Card number 2 was this really beautiful, masculine, thank you for the small things, thankful for the small things. And then our final one is just those cute pumpkins and a greeting about friendship. So which one was your favorite? This one is mine. Well, I hope you enjoyed the first week of Simply Stamping Sunday for October. We have 3 more weekends in the month, and I've got some really fun ideas to share with you. Next week, I am going to show you some techniques when it comes to masking. And the only extra thing you'll need is a Post-it note. We sell masking tape, but you don't need to necessarily have masking tape to do some masking when you're doing some cards. So be looking forward to learning a little bit more about masking next week. And I hope you have a great week. I'll be back. I have an awesome project to share with you next Friday for Fun Fold Friday. I'm in a good place because it's already done and I have the sample made and everything's cut. So I'm looking forward to showing you that Friday night. It is spectacular. So have a great week, everyone. Take care. Good night.